Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ice Cold Takes podcast. I'm your host, Joey DeMeglio, and Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed the holidays. We are back for the first episode in 2023, and joining me today is the one and only Stat Boy Steven to talk about Jimmy Vesey's extension, the World Junior Championship, and Kaapo Kakko's tear. Steven, thanks for joining. How are you?
Always fun to join. Yeah, doing well. Happy New Year to you. Best wishes to everyone who's listening in. Happy Rangers winning the cup here. Let's just throw it out there. You never know.
2023. Yeah,
You
2020.
never know. You never know. No, doing great. Actually, went to Sweden last week to see Henrik Lundqvist tribute night for his team Frölunda, which was a pretty cool experience. So it's been a busy couple of weeks, but in a good way.
It's a once in a lifetime experience. That's awesome. I know Sam Rosen was mentioning it on the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, maybe he'll throw in Steven's name in there. That'd be awesome.
He,
But yeah,
he's done that I think once or twice already. I mean, I remember when I was in Calgary in 2019. I was a friend of mine who lives in Calgary got tickets to the Rangers game, and he said, "If you fly in, I'll take you to the game for free." I'm like, "Sure, I'll fly to Calgary for a Rangers game. Why not?" And before the game, during warm-ups, I got a picture taken with Elias Anderson. And at the time, that didn't sound crazy as it does today. Um, and they actually showed it on the broadcast. And Sam Rosen mentioned my Twitter handle, and that was such a weird experience, man. Like growing up in Europe, you don't really feel the same connection with a hockey team as people that grew up in New York.
mhm.
But that night, I felt like I was actually part of the fan base. Having Sam Rosen mention your name,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's something I'll probably never forget.
we need to get Sam Rosen on Twitter. That would be awesome. I know joking.
Sam Rosen on Twitter. I mean, if Sam Rosen's on Twitter, I want to see tweets that also include the words "excuse me," where
Yes,
where he announces a goal and then he just quote tweets himself saying "excuse me." That was Chris Kreider.
excuse me. That was actually Zibanejad with the
Yeah,
shot.
yeah. No, but
uh,
Sam Rosen is a legend, man.
Of course, one of the best broadcasters in the business.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into these topics. So first up, I mean, the news came out yesterday. Jimmy Vesey was extended for 2 years, $800,000 per year. That's the cap hit. That's the AAV. The Rangers now have 8 forwards under contract for next season, with 4 defensemen and Igor Shesterkin signed as well. Overall, this is a fantastic move for the Rangers. Bottom six forward that's effective. It's not just some. It's not like a Ryan Reeves or a Dryden Hunt. Like, this guy is actually going to do some damage in there. He's a guy that you're going to want to have around. He's played
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
awesome this year. Well
Even if he
deserved.
was even if it was Ryan Reeves, an $800,000 cap hit is something you can easily bury.
Yep.
Um, and with a cap hit that low, if we have a situation where he's no longer needed, he'll probably be claimed off waivers if the Rangers want to get rid of him. So it's a no-brainer. He came in on a PTO. I was never really a fan of Jimmy Vesey, but he came in on a PTO. He earned a contract, and what is it, like 4 months into the season, he earned a 2-year extension. Good for him.
Yeah, he's played really well. He's not the goal scorer that everybody thought he was going to be coming out of
No,
college.
but look, we always talk about how teams overpay for fourth liners, right? Sammy Blay 1.5, Ryan Reeves 1.7. You don't want to pay that much for your fourth liners, Getting a guy like Jimmy Vesey who can play up and down the lineup for 800K, that's a bargain. The versatility is really the key here because a couple of years ago we had a guy like Jesper Fast who was never going to score 30 goals in the season, but for a short amount of time during injuries, moving him up to the top six, he did not look out of place. And I think Jimmy Vesey, if we have a major injury for like a week or two, you can easily put him up and slot him into the top six without him looking out of place. He might drag down the line a little bit, but he won't be a detriment to the team. So
I'd
that
rather
versatility is great to have. And for 2 years, 800K, this is a great deal for the Rangers. There's really nothing to dislike about this deal.
I said this on the show yesterday, but I'd rather have VZ be the placeholder in the top six than Barkley Goudreau. It's
Yeah,
almost like remember how Colin Blackwell used to for whatever reason, always being on Panarin's line. And whenever I remember it was you that said it, Steven. It was you that said every time that you said he shouldn't be in there, shouldn't be on his line, he would score a goal and prove you wrong. That's what Blackwell did.
Look, and this is nothing against Colin Blackwell, but Colin Blackwell was here. What was it? 2019, 20? What was that?
2020, the lockout or the COVID
Oh,
shortened year, 2020,
yeah. So
2021.
the first season of Lafreniere, right?
Yes.
You just drafted second and first overall. You don't want a guy like Blackwell in your top six because you want to prep those young kids, those first and second overall picks. You want to prep those for the roles in the top six. It was nothing against Blackwell. It was more that you want to see other players in that position instead.
Right. Yeah. Blackwell's a good player, but not for the role that they were putting him in.
Yeah.
And
And
I
the
think,
same thing
yeah.
with Jimmy Vesey. Jimmy Vesey, for a couple of games in the top six is fine, but in general, he should be in the bottom six. In the
Yes.
bottom six, he can be a very effective player for $800,000 a year. I think because the amounts have gone up a little bit the last few years with the MOU that was signed in 2020. I think 800K might be the league minimum starting next season. So he's earning league minimum salary for 2 years. I mean, what's not to like?
You really can't complain about that. It's not even for 1 year either. It's 2 years. So it's like you think 2 years from now, what are the contracts going to be like for the Rangers? But right now, go ahead.
So the rule is that you can bury a contract in the AHL for up to league minimum plus 350K. So that means any player that earns 1.15 million or less can be sent down to Hartford and not count against the cap. As long as you stay under that number, cap-wise, there's no risk. Because those contracts can be buried completely. It's becoming an issue when you want to send down a guy making 2 million or 1.7 because you'll have a $500,000 cap hit for a guy like Ryan Reeves if he's on your AHL team.
That's why it was good to get rid of Reeves for whatever they got him for.
You get a fourth round pick for a guy that requested a trade. We moved on from Ryan Reeves. He served his purpose. He did what he was brought in to do. And when the Rangers no longer had a need for him, they moved on from him. But Jimmy Vesey, look, worst case scenario, they put him on waivers, and I can almost guarantee a team claims him.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he's not going to be a detriment to anyone's development if the coach uses him right. That's the big if. But yeah, let's be positive about the coach for now.
Yeah, a little over $3.4 million in dead cap to Shattenkirk, Girardi, and D'Angelo are coming off the books next season. Chris Drury's going to have about $16.8 million to sign. Hedl, Blais, Lafreniere, Kravtsov, Gauthier, Miller, and 2 more roster spots for skaters, 3 if they use all 23 spots, and a backup goalie. So, and I don't think Lafreniere is going to get his big boy contract yet. He has not played. He's not been deserving of it. If anything, it's going to be another like Kakko or Hedl like bridge deal, where it's like anywhere between $2 and $2.5 million for 2 years. I would say.
And yeah, the 3.4 million coming off the books finally. You talk about a guy like Girardi. But Girardi hasn't played for the Rangers since 2017. Let's put it this way: Girardi never played a Rangers game in an Adidas jersey.
It's a funny way to put it. Yeah, for real.
And he's finally coming off the books after this season. So it's also interesting that they're all right-handed defensemen: D'Angelo, Shattenkirk, Girardi.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. Yeah, but you're right.
It's almost like they had a major issue there, but now they have Adam Fox and Jacob Trouba and Braden Schneider. So, luckily that issue is resolved.
For once, let's just have no buyouts.
The buyouts. I hate buyouts because they haunt you forever. Luckily, Brad Richards was a compliance buyout. There's no cap penalty, but he's getting paid until 2026, man.
Yeah, well, that's no. It's not even close to like what the Mets are doing with Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla is getting paid until he's 72.
Right. So nowhere
Yeah.
near as bad as that.
He might not even be alive for his last paycheck.
Yeah.
He might not
Yeah.
even live long enough to cash his last paycheck.
Yeah.
Rick DiPietro is getting paid twice by the Islanders, once for his buyout and once as an analyst.
Yeah. He's awesome. I like it. I would love to
Yeah.
interview him one day. He'd be a
DiPietro is
good guy
getting
too.
paid until 2029, by the way.
Humpty Dumpty. Love that
And
guy.
I think DiPietro hasn't played since the lockout.
Oh yeah. Since like probably before the lockout, I think. Maybe a
Yeah, the
little
last
bit
time
after.
DiPietro played, Brendan Othman was 10 years old.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Or 9. Yeah.
Last thing on like the cap stuff and VZ is of all the guys that the Rangers have to re-sign, I don't think it's going to be as much of a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem based on Lafreniere and Kravtsov's production. I think everyone except Keandre Miller and maybe Filipino are going to get bridge deals. And in terms of comparables for Heedle's contract, I was trying to look yesterday, and Lawson Krause, I think, is like has similar, not similar point production, but less points, and was kind of drafted in the same area as Heedle, like around this, not in the same time, but in the same point of the first round, right?
I
Almost.
think Krause was a 10th overall pick.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He was a 10th overall pick, but he didn't pan out as well as they thought he was going to. His after his ELC, he got like a $1.5 million contract for 3 years. Then after that, starting this year, he's got 4. I'm gonna pull it up right now. It's I believe it's, come on now, load. It's a $4.3 million contract for 5 years, and that's for a guy that's only scored 132 points in 381 games. Heedle has scored 20 less points in 100 less games. So if you give that contract to Heedle, I could see that making sense.
Yeah, look, you asked me earlier today about comparisons for Heedle's contract, and I didn't have a lot of time. I was on my way home from work, but the one guy, this is just like a fast comparison I came up with, Jack Roslovic.
Okay. Yep.
You know, he played his ELC, and then he signed a $2 million extension for 2 years. And then this past summer, he signed a 2-year deal for $4 million AAV. And his production over the last 3 years has been 29 points, 34 points, 45 points. So it's kind of in line with what Heedle is looking for production-wise. So Heedle on a 2-year bridge would make sense. Unfortunately, with Heedle, you have the problem that if you sign him for 2 years, then he's UFA at the end of his contract. So I think it's going to be either a 1-year deal or a 3-year deal. So they have at least a little bit more flexibility.
I could see Chris Drury bargaining and going for a 1-year deal. I really could.
Yeah. And this is another thing with Heedle, right? You know, you look at the Rangers cap situation now. You mentioned the buyouts coming off the books, but you also have a guy like Lindgren at $3 million a year. He's RFA in 2024. What are the Rangers going to do there? Are they going to keep him? I mean, the money is not really there anyway. But you could talk to a guy like Heedle and say, "Listen, we'll give you a 1-year deal, and then we'll renegotiate next year." Yeah, it's not out of the question. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure Sammy Blake comes off the books as well this upcoming summer.
I will go ahead and say yes. Sammy Blay has not earned his spot on the Rangers roster here.
And replacing Halak with a backup goalie earning $1 million saves you $500,000. So there are some small gains you can make cap-wise.
Oh yeah. I think the Rangers are going to be fine, unless Lafreniere from here on it just like completely turns it to another level and scores like 50 points by the end of the season or 30 points.
Unless he has some like epiphany in Montreal tonight.
Maybe he like plays well in Montreal. I don't know what it is, but it's because he's from there. Yeah.
I mean, he's only played there once before, and he scored in that game. So.
Yep. The Rangers we need to see more out of him. I would say from Lafreniere. It hasn't had the immediate impact as everyone thought it might have from scratching him.
So here's a question for you, right?
Okay.
And if you read my tweet a couple of hours ago, you should know the answer to this. But who are the only two French Canadian or Quebec natives to score for the Rangers in Montreal together with Lafreniere since 1996?
Does it count the playoffs?
Just regular season.
Oh, damn. I was gonna say St. Louis, but
No.
since '96.
Only 3 Quebec natives have scored for the Rangers in Montreal since 1996.
Well, the
And
Rangers
Lafreniere is
don't
one of
do
them.
the Rangers don't do a whole lot of scoring. Since I've watched the Rangers don't do a whole lot of scoring in Montreal.
The Rangers suck ass when they play in Montreal.
Right.
Like
They were
historically.
cursed. Like from like
They-
2010 to 2014, they were cursed. They could never score in Montreal.
Yeah. They lose games 5-1 in Montreal with
Yes.
Lundqvist in net. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So one of them was Sylvain Lefebvre in 2000, and the other one is Derek Brassard in 2016.
Brassard. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw. Since you were going to ask me a quiz question later, I thought.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. We'll wait. We'll wait on that one. But yeah. Lafreniere, I think he needs to turn it up. Kaapo Kakko has looked fantastic playing on the top line. He has looked great. Kreider, Zibanejad, Kaapo Kakko.
It's not just Kakko, but look, I tweeted this a couple of days ago. Since December 5th, and the reason I use December 5th as the cut-up date, so to speak, is because that's when the 7-game winning streak started.
I was just going to say that's when it started. Yep.
The Rangers won 7 in a row. I think they won 9 of their last 11. Since December 5th, the even strength scoring has gone up significantly. And I looked it up. Zibanejad even strength scoring per 60 went from 1.6 to 2.5. Trocheck from 0.98 to 2.65. Kakko from 1.17 to 2.27. Even Lafreniere 1.34 to 2.69. That's double, like per 60 at even strength. It's ridiculous.
I'd say even strength wise, the Rangers have played well for about a month now. They've played really well. I've been content with what they've been able to do at even strength.
And to me, the moment where things changed was the third period against the St. Louis Blues. Where Milan put Lafreniere and Kakko with Zibanejad. Now he hasn't kept those lines together per se, but giving Kakko and Lafreniere in most of those games some better players, some better line mates to play with, has really paid off. And look, the only 2 players in our top 9 that saw their production go down at even strength in that span are Chris Kreider and Philip Hedl. So, like 7 out of 9 players had an increase in production, and 2 out of 9 had a decrease. I'll take that any day.
Yeah.
Even Panarin, 2.18 before December 5th, 2.95 since December 5th at even strength.
You know what's crazy? What I find crazy is like that like Mercogliano and Larry Brooks and all the writers are all ganging up on Gallant, and they're saying, "Listen, man, you got to get the kids in the top 6. Like this is not good." I don't know what you're thinking putting Gaudreau in there.
To me, it's not even about top 6. To me, it's about spreading out the talent. Because one thing Gallant did, he put Kreider with Trocheck.
I like that move.
Yeah, Kreider and Trocheck.
I was a big fan of Kreider, Trocheck, Vesey. I was a big fan of that third line.
But if you have Kreider, Trocheck, Vesey as one of your lines, that means that you end up with Panarin, Hedl, Kravtsov, and then Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Kakko. You can switch it around here or there, but they were no longer a top 6 heavy team. With the kid line as a third line, they were spread out. There was talent for them to feed off of, and I think that was the biggest difference.
Yeah. And now I think putting Kakko in a position to succeed, and now he's thriving. Like he's playing confident. He's playing so well down low.
What is it, like 9 points in his last 11 games?
I think so. I think 9 points in the last.
And he was robbed of 2 points on top of that.
Oh yeah. He's been robbed all season.
How did Zibanejad's goal against Tampa become an unassisted goal?
That became unassisted?
It should have been an assist for I think Kakko and Fox, but
I think
somehow they
Lindgren,
or Lindgren
right? Lindgren, yeah. Because you know what?
somehow they ruled.
I think because they said it must have been because it went off of a Tampa player.
Yeah, but
Like
did the Tampa player have to have control of the
he didn't
puck?
have
That
possession.
no,
It just hit his
no,
skate. It was stupid.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way. What? I'm gonna check this right now.
If the Rangers wanted the late penalty, would they have blown the whistle for a power play? No.
Nope.
Then it shouldn't be an unassisted goal. But look, Kako, I think 9 in his last 11. He's been having a good couple of weeks. Let's hope he can build on that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Kravtsov has also woken up a little bit. Like at the beginning of the season, I said he didn't look comfortable out there. He looked nervous. He looked shy. Now he's playing with confidence. Now I'm ready to judge him. I'm ready to judge him from here on out. Like his production wise, like
Yeah, yeah.
he seems comfortable and ready to go in the NHL. Let's see what he's able to do with Panarin. Let's see
You
what he's
know,
able to do wherever Gallant puts him.
yeah, and Kravtsov does not have the production yet, but he reminds me a little bit of Kako. Kako early in the season played really well, but didn't get the points.
Right.
And somehow Lafreniere was the polar opposite. He didn't play well, but he got points somehow. You know, he got like a secondary assist on a goal, and like was he even on the ice for that one?
Right.
So
Right.
it's nice to have players that are contributing even when they're not scoring. And Kako and
Right.
Kravtsov, that's something you can build on.
The thing that I love the most is that every time Kakko and Kravtsov are out there, like you kind of tend to notice them. Like they're not just like skating or whatever. Like I always look to see if they're out there, of course, but like they have the puck. They're doing something. Kravtsov has gone between the legs with the puck 3 out of 4 games now. Right? Like
Yeah,
no Rangers forward does that. The only guy that does that is Panarin or Zibanejad. Zibanejad really. And you can count the number of times it's been done on one hand in the past like 3 years. I said this yesterday too on whatever show I
mm.
was on, but he's not afraid to make any moves. He made Hedman look like he made him look like an AHL level defender the
Oh,
other
dude,
day.
that was such an awesome play. Unfortunately, it didn't result in a goal. But
Right. But
that, compare that to opening night where Hetman shoved him into the boards and he went
I
over.
totally forgot about that too. Totally forgot about that.
It's polar opposites, man.
Yeah. I like what I'm seeing from Kravtsov, from Kakko. Julian Gauthier, like I told you before we started recording, has been awesome all year. He should never come out of the lineup. I was very, very pissed off when Gallant took him out of the lineup. I I don't know what it is now, but penalties drawn per 60, it was like ranked eighth. I know you saw that. I know you saw me you post that the other day.
Oh no,
But
penalties drawn per 60 is one of my favorite stats to prove that fourth liners can have an
yeah.
impact even when they're not scoring.
Yeah, man. He's completely noticeable. The opposing defenders have no clue what to do with him. Like he dips his shoulder, he goes around, he'll get taken down in front of the net. If he doesn't have the angle around the defender, he'll cut back and he'll set something up. He's a great
But
player
his
for the
one
fourth line.
move, his signature move actually resulted in a goal now.
Oh yes, against the Islanders. He crossed Valley's Royal Road and instead of going like all the way across the goalie, but put it between the legs.
Yeah. And I think the couple of weeks in Hartford really helped him like perfect that move, like
Hmm.
put a little bit more finesse on that move because you have more time, you have more space to make that move work so you can refine it a little bit. And look, Gauthier, when he's on the ice, he's making things happen. He may not be a 20, 30 goal scorer in the league, but on the fourth line, he makes things happen. He draws penalties. He creates scoring chances. In possession, he skates the puck out of your own zone. It's a good guy to have, and I hope he sticks around.
Yeah. I think I was talking to Rob Luker about it. Like, he was a first round pick. Like, we were talking also before about like how Vesey came out of
Yeah,
came out of
he,
college.
he was drafted the same year as Adam Fox and Ryan Lindgren.
Right. But like where you're drafted, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you don't turn into that player that you were drafted as, right? So like
Yeah,
Vesey is now, instead of being a top line scorer, he's more of a bottom six defender. Same thing with Gauthier. He was always a scorer. He scored in every league he played in, like 40, 50 goals, whatever it was. He scored 30 in the AHL. He's a bottom 6 player. Brian Boyle, when he was drafted, he was a first round pick, Brian Boyle. And you know what he turned into be? A fourth line player.
Yeah.
So sometimes sometimes you're drafted high, but it doesn't pan out the way that you think it's going to be. Benoit Pouliot was drafted 4th overall, don't forget, by Minnesota. And then when he came to the Rangers, he was a third line scorer. He wasn't a first line winger. He played on part with Brassard and Zuccarello, and that's where he made his value.
He was part of maybe the best third line I've seen on the Rangers ever.
Hands down, this best one of the best lines I've ever seen. Period. Like maybe Nash, Brassard, Zuccarello. I don't know, but
No, but as a third line, I don't think we've had better than Pouliot, Brassard, Zuccarello.
That's a really good one. I miss Zuccarello, man. I always say it. But yeah, that was a fantastic line. We had deep teams. Like we had a lot of centers. That we had like Richards, we had Stepan, JT Miller eventually came in, Brassard, Anisimov. We had Kevin Hayes. Like a lot of centers that we had. Brian Boyle, Dominic Moore,
Dubinsky was there for a while.
Dubinsky.
Yeah.
That core group of players, we had a lot of good centers, like middle 6, bottom 9 or bottom 6 centers. Like we were just missing that one. Like if we had Zibanejad, maybe we would.
If the Rangers drafted Tarasenko instead of McElrath, or if Sharapanov had lived, we may look at a cup in 2014.
Ooh, Tarasenko. Yeah. Hey, maybe they trade for him now.
I would rather have Tarasenko than Patrick Kane.
Honestly, I won't I don't think that's a bad idea because Tarasenko is a shooter, right?
Yeah. Tarasenko makes more sense. Look, and I know Kane scores too, but do we need more passers on this team?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I know that's a conversation that I've started to have too now. Like,
and also,
okay, Panarin and Kane will probably just dance around with the puck. We don't have any guys that will just shoot the puck past the goaltender. Yeah. There's no Gabrick on the Rangers right now.
Yeah, there's this running joke. It was like Arsenal, like the football team in England, Arsenal, that they never shoot. They always try to walk it into the net.
Okay.
That's kind of like the Rangers.
Yes. Yes.
But Patrick Kane's also not great at even strength. So unless you get him for the power play, you're not going to be happy with what he brings. So yeah.
I'll take a Tarasenko. I have Craig Berube's number. I should call him right now and say, hey,
there you go. Make it happen. Send me Blay in a second round pick.
That's so funny. That's what we were talking about yesterday. It's we'll give Sammy Blay back for Tarasenko straight up. Yeah. Canucks fans were talking about Lafreniere for JT Miller again. And I was saying, all right, Canucks fans, if you want to play like that, I could play like that too. How about Lafreniere for the real Elias Pettersson? Not the second Elias Pettersson they drafted, the real Elias Pettersson, straight up.
Listen, I think the other one too. I mean,
I'll take both. Why not? Yeah, throw in your first round pick too. Why not?
Look, isn't it amazing that we have 2 players named Elias Pettersson, we have 2 players named Sebastian Aho. Mm-hmm. The LA Kings drafted Jack Hughes this past summer, so we have 2 of those now. Then there's Alexis Lafreniere and Alex Laferriere.
Laferriere. That's by he's on the Kings, right?
He's on the Kings.
Yeah.
The Rangers drafted Adam Edstrom, who plays in Sweden with a defenseman drafted by Montreal named Adam Engstrom. It never ends, man. We have Kaapo Kakko and Kaapo Kakkonen.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Yeah. All these connections are looking great. And speaking of junior players, let's transition to the World Junior Championship. Brennan Othman and the Team Canada absolutely stole a victory from the United States yesterday. I don't know what was going on there. I think at least one of those goals was a little bit fishy that they called back.
At least one, but yeah, both were not.
The second one I could understand because the puck's kind of like underneath the goalie and they're like jabbing at it or whatever. But the first one, come on, man! Like the goalie had no chance of stopping that. Like that, there's no way. Like he could have made the save, but there was no chance he could get over.
The player getting called for goaltender interference is in possession of the puck.
Yes.
that should change the narrative of that call a little bit. But look, it is what it is. Canada's going to the final, so we have two Ranger prospects in the final. Um, we have Brennan Hoffman for Team Canada and
Mm-hmm.
Jaroslav Kmelars for Czechia. Um, so it'll be interesting to see who's going to win. Czechia goes for their first gold medal in 22 years. They have not won in 22 years. Their youngest player is 19. So no one on the team has been alive for that last gold medal.
Wow.
Canada's going for the first gold medal in 22 weeks because they won it in August. Um,
Go Czechia.
and yeah, look, it'll be the I think the seventh time the Rangers have players on opposite sides in the gold medal game. So that'll be interesting.
So from what I saw yesterday, I didn't see a whole lot of Othman. Now you could correct me if I'm wrong, but he looked a little slow out there. He didn't look as impactful as he has in like the previous games. Like there was a game before where he had a beautiful setup on the power play. Like he looked really, really good with the puck. He had like one really good play in the game, and it was like a deflection on the power play. He almost buried it, but it went a little bit wide. I think it was in the second period.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he looked a little off. Have you spoken to him? I know your relationship with him is fantastic. That's just it's a thing of beauty. I hope you guys continue to talk and stuff.
Yeah, no, I spoke to him yesterday actually. I wish him a happy birthday because today's his birthday.
My
He's turning
man.
20. Um, so we either gonna have Brennan Hoffman winning a gold medal on his birthday, or we're gonna have Jaroslav Kmelaris winning a gold medal for Czechia that I haven't won in 2 decades. Either way, it's gonna be special. Um, but I spoke to both of them throughout the last 2 weeks. Just not like massive conversations, but just checking in, sending a message here or there, just wishing them all the best. And man, Kmelaris yesterday after that game, he was thrilled. He was so happy to be in the final, and it's going to be hard for me to root against either one of them or for either one of them. I'm just going to watch that game tonight and just enjoy it.
Just hope for a good
Um,
game.
it's gonna be a great game. Either way, the Rangers are gonna one Ranger is going to walk away with a gold medal.
That narrative is going to be so great. Like in a couple of years, like I
Yeah,
hope both of those guys get on the Rangers, and like we could in like 5 years from now we could have a lighthearted moment. Like, oh, you remember that time I decked you or whatever, and then I bought you steak dinner. Oh, remember that time we played in the gold medals game and then I won.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah, the whole steak dinner story was pretty cool, right?
yeah.
So in the tournament last August, Chmelars hit Othman into the boards, and Othman needed he went to the bench, he needed some attention, and was a bit out of it. But they were fine. They met after the game, and Chmelars said, next time we'll meet in New York. I'll buy you a steak dinner. So unfortunately, he wasn't at prospect camp because the Rangers told him to stay with Czechia over the summer. But maybe this upcoming summer in July, when the Rangers have their prospect development camp, Brendan Othman might get that steak dinner now. So
They should. This is like the premise for a Cobra Kai TV series. Like honestly, like it's like from rival teams. Like Czechia's in the finals, Canada's in the finals. It's like it's Johnny versus Danny LaRusso. You got
yeah,
what I'm saying?
no, but either way, whoever's going to win tonight, it's gonna be fun for Ranger fans because they have something to talk about. It's going to be
Yeah.
a Ranger prospect with a gold medal.
hmm I'm gonna have to find a way to put that game on while I'm streaming the Rangers game. That'd be that'd be a fun little like picture in picture kind of split screen action going
Yeah.
on there.
I can send you the YouTube link if you want.
Oh, I have NHL Net. It's on NHL Network. It'll be on
Oh,
NHL
isn't it?
Network. I'm
Okay.
assuming.
Okay.
Is it? I'm assuming it will be. It better be because yesterday's game was on NHL Network. I'm gonna look it up. World Junior Championship gold medal game. NHL Network. I'm also gonna shout out on here Jackie Redmond, Kevin Weeks, and Mike Rupp. That's a fantastic like trio there. Like I caught a little bit of, I think it was NHL Now right before the game started, and the game started yesterday. Those guys like worked really well together. I would love to get Jackie Redmond on the show. I've already had Kevin Weeks. I've already had Mike Rupp. Might have to start a hashtag asking for Jackie right after I get Ryan Callahan on the show.
Yeah. By the way, for Team USA in the bronze medal game, Ranger prospect Noah Laba is playing.
Yes, I saw that.
He's making his tournament debut. He's playing with number 8. So
Also,
good to see him.
would like,
good to see him getting some action.
I'd like to ask you. So, is it Väisänen? Is that how you pronounce the guy's name?
Yeah, it's close enough.
From Finland.
Yeah,
he had like a Kalle Väisänen. He looked pretty good. Yeah, he looked pretty good the first few games, right? Like I don't know what happened with Finland, but he looked great.
So when a team is eliminated, they announce the top 3 players for the team, and he was picked as one of the 3 players for Team Finland.
Wow. Okay. So
and he was on the 4th. He was on the 4th line. He made an impact. That first game against Switzerland, they lost 3-2, I think, in overtime.
Yeah, I was watching that.
He had a goal with an assist.
Yeah, he has a really nice shot, actually.
Yeah, he does. And, we're talking about long-term prospects here. The kid was drafted a year and a half ago. So don't expect him to make the team like next year. But down the line, who knows what might happen.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Hagelin was drafted in 2007, I think. When was Carl Hagelin drafted? Let me see. Carl Hagelin was drafted in, come on, Elite Prospects is slow today. Yeah, 2007. And he was already 19. So he was drafted eligible in 2006, right? Kalle Väisänen at the same age is still 4 years away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also bringing up prospects, too, is because it's coming around time for trade deadline season where the rumors are going to start. And, the Rangers are probably going to be buyers. We'll have to see how much they give up, if it's going to be a lot like last year or if they're going to give up more. Like what prospects would other teams value highly? Obviously Othman, but I would see him as a guy that the Rangers would definitely not want to give up.
There's
the organization loves him. The organization loves Othman.
There's no way Chris Drury is trading away the first player he drafted as a junior.
Right. Exactly. But what other players, like Matthew Robertson, of course, right? I don't even know how good of a prospect he is.
Robertson or Jones, if the Rangers feel that Jones doesn't fit their style, they can move on from Jones and just try Robertson. Or if Robertson doesn't work out, they'll figure out something else. But yeah, there are prospects that they could still trade away. Will Cooley is probably not a guy that they want to part ways with, but will be on the radar for some other teams. I think Cooley leads the Wolfpack in goals this season.
Wolfpack they're having a rough season this year, but
yeah, but we can say that every year, man. The Wolfpack suck every year.
There were a couple of years like recently where they tried to build it up, right? When Drury was like the GM of the team.
Yeah,
right?
And then like last year, and then Brodzinski and Greco are called up and they lose 17 in a row.
Oh boy, they really needed those guys.
When was the last time the Wolfpack actually made noise in the playoffs? Was it 2004?
No idea. I had not gone to an AHL game.
There's just no fun reason to unless you hate yourself, you don't buy season tickets to the Hartford Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you like to hurt yourself, like mentally and physically, you don't go to every Wolfpack game. It's just not fun to watch.
And there you have it. There's Steven's first painful ice cold take of the year.
I've been to a Wolfpack game. I enjoyed it because it was my first Wolfpack game. But look, it's just they always disappoint. Yeah. So Turner Elson leads the team in points with 17 in 30 games.
Ugh. What? That's it.
Will Cooley has 8 goals in 30 games. By the way, Ryan Carpenter, 8 goals in 10 games since he was sent down.
Wow. I almost forgot he existed.
Yeah, yeah. Talk
Bro,
about a guy that people forget about. By the
I've
way,
I've been
speaking
liking
of the Wolfpack,
Brodzinski. Yeah, I've been liking Brodzinski, but yeah, his wife Brodzinski's wife is in labor, and as of right now on Thursday, and so the Rangers have called up Gustav Riedel from AHL Hartford, and Gerard Gallant has not made a decision on whether or not he's going to be in the lineup because he had not been at the facility in Montreal to practice. He was on the way. So I'm hoping I want to see what he looks like. I've never seen him play, but from what I've heard, he's a good skater. He's got a really good shot. Um, might be a good fourth line piece for the future. I want to see what he looks like.
yeah, he was fun to watch in preseason. To be honest, he was definitely one to keep an eye on in those games. But look, the Rangers are playing in Montreal. Do you really think that Sammy Blais is going to be scratched in Montreal as a French Canadian? Nah, they're
Yeah.
not going to do that to him.
Wasn't
I
wasn't
think
it Glant that put all the Michigan guys out on the ice in Detroit?
again, yeah, in Detroit, was it
It's like
Cop,
Cop, Vetrano, Mott,
Truba,
Truba, and
Mott, Truba?
Truba, and then they have another defender. I know Miller's Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
All right, so they wouldn't put him out there. Maybe they did
No,
put him out there just to spite.
now Lindgren's from Minnesota. Well, Miller's also from Minnesota, but he played for Wisconsin. But yeah, uh, I think Blaze is going to play, but Riedel getting a taste of NHL action, even when it is just practice, that's a good sign. I liked him in preseason. I think he's a very underrated signing. If he can make a case for himself, I think on opening night he should have made the team over Ryan Carpenter.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll
But
agree with you on that.
Ryan Carpenter played for Gallant in Vegas, so there's a history there, and
Yeah,
blah
yeah.
blah blah. So
And also, I think if Reeves wasn't involved, like in here too, then the decision would have been a little bit like
yeah,
he might have had a better chance. He was also, from what I recall, he was one of the last Rangers dropped, right? Do you
yeah,
recall? Yeah, like it was like 24, 25, maybe 26 players left, and he was one of them,
yeah,
and they had to
yeah.
get down
No,
to 23.
I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen with him. Yeah, if he doesn't play, then hopefully the next game. But yeah, how long would Brzezinski be out? Our next game is on Saturday, I think.
Hmm.
Afternoon game against the Devils.
1 p.m. against the Devils. I might actually watch that game on NHL Network because if it's EJ Radick calling the game, he did a nice job with it against the Stars months ago. So show some support for my one of
Hmm.
my former guests on the show. Um, also, before
Speaking of former guests, man, I was so happy when Kevin Weeks responded, man.
man, oh man, the that was like one of the best days. Like honestly, like in the show, like I can't thank you enough for all the support you've given me, all the support everyone else. Like I want to shout
Yeah,
out everybody. Like
it was
there's too
it
many
was
people to
fun.
name.
Yeah, it was fun being able to help with that, even though all I did was retweet and come up with a hashtag.
It- that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing. It was
Um,
the hardest part was just saying like, am I gonna piss people off if I say day 64? Am I gonna piss
who
people off if I
cares?
say
Who
day
cares?
65? Yeah, and
It's
then it was
Twitter.
just
You always
like,
gotta listen. It's Twitter. You always gotta piss someone off.
yeah. So I got into an argument the other day. Someone was saying like, "Oh, Sammy Blade needs to be like I." The other day they were talking on MSG. I don't know if you saw it, but they use per 60 stats. You know what they use it on? Hits per 60 with Sammy Blay. And I'm like, of all the times they use per 60 stats, it had to be hits, and it had to be Sammy Blay. And then I saw someone else complaining about it, and someone
So
responded to
okay,
that.
so here's why I don't like hits as a stat to prove that a player is
Okay,
good,
go
right?
ahead.
You can only hit players if you don't have the puck, otherwise it's interference.
Hmm.
You can only hit players if your team is chasing the puck. So if you lead your team in hits, that's not a good thing. Same with turnovers. Why is it always the players that have the puck the most that have the most turnovers? It's simple, right? If you
Right.
have the puck more, you're going to turn the puck
Yeah, you're
over
gonna turn it
more.
over more. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You play with more risk. And the turnover per 60 stat is flawed. I want a turnover per 60 possession stat.
What do you
If
mean
I
by
have
possession? Like,
if I have the puck for 11 minutes over a certain amount of games, and I have 2 turnovers, that's 1 turnover for every 5.5 minutes
mhm.
of possession, not 5.5 minutes on the ice.
That would be nice if the NHL started tracking like times you touch the puck, times you, or like if like Natural Stat Trick and those sites, or even Valley's Clear Site
And
Analytics track that stuff. Like
and the
how
thing
many
with
times you
hit,
touched it, how long you've had it.
see, I want, I don't know if this exists. If anyone knows, please let me know. I want to see a hits plus minus stat, and I'll explain what I have in mind. If you hit someone, there's 2 outcomes. Either your team ends up with the puck or they don't. If your hit results in possession, that is a hit plus. If your team doesn't have possession after the hit, that's a minus. Give me a hits plus minus.
I like that. That's like a forechecking kind of stat. Like how
Because
many times you're in on the rush like that. Like if you
yeah,
go
because
in like.
hits in a vacuum are meaningless as a stat.
Right, right. Like you see Blay leads a team in hits. Okay, but like does he drive offense when he's out there?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Gauthier hits a lot, but he drives the offense on the
I
fourth
think
line.
I think Chris Russell got like a silver stick for setting the NHL record for blocked shots. So that just means that when he's on the ice, his team never has the puck.
Right. Yeah. Like so basically I made an argument like saying if anybody the guy was saying like, oh, Sammy Blay should be out there more because he hits. No, not a single player on this team has as many hits as him. And I'm like, all right, if you want to copy paste a fourth liner on the Rangers, it's not gonna be Blay, it's gonna be Julian Gauthier because the guy hits, he's fast, he draws penalties, and he creates scoring chances. So if you want to copy paste somebody, it's gonna be him. And
Yeah.
so that guy had a problem with me. But yeah, to what you were saying about how everyone's going to be pissed off on Twitter, it is. But I try to make it. I try to be happy all the
Listen,
time.
you can tweet in the morning that you feel great because you woke up with a smile, and one there will be at least one person offended by it. That's just social media. You're always gonna piss someone off. Don't worry about it.
You ever see that meme where it's like like Twitter is the only place where it's like I like pancakes and it's like and then
So you
someone
hate
says
waffles.
so you hate waffles? Like no, that's a completely different sentence. That's what that conversation with that other guy that I was like talking to on Twitter. That's what it felt like. It's like, oh, so you don't understand what hockey is then? I'm like, no, you idiot. That's not what I said. I said Sammy Play is not as good as Gauthier. Yeah, it's funny how
Yeah.
like things could be like misinterpreted and stuff. It's like when you're texting your friends, like you got to use emojis sometimes to like to make sure you're joking or whatever. Um, Anyways, back to Kevin Weeks. Like I still like I DM him and say like hope everything's going well. Like I still try and keep in touch with him. I know he's busy. Just had a kid. Um, Also great video of him like breaking news in the hospital when the baby was delivered.
Yeah,
I was
that
waiting
was
for that.
perfect.
I was waiting for that. But yeah, Kevin Weeks, what a great moment. I'll say that's the ice cold takes moment of 2022 was having Kevin Weeks on the show, hands down.
So who's your target for 2023 then?
First up is Ryan Callahan.
I think you can make that happen.
I think I could make that happen too. I already got him to respond. Like remember when the Rangers played Colorado and Sam Rosen accidentally said, here we go with Sam Rosen again. He accidentally said, and then we're going back to Ryan Carpenter. Ryan Callahan cleared waivers today. Excuse me, that's not Callahan. That's Carpenter. I had Callahan on my mind. So I posted that little segment and tagged him, and right away, Callahan quote tweeted it. And that little
Yeah.
13-second video had like 400,000 impressions.
Yeah, no, but look, Callahan, you can get Callahan. He's active on social media. He's a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like some fun hashtags for him, like Callie on the daily. What was the other one? I forget what the other one was, but I've just been using hashtag asking for Callie. That's coming back by the way too. I started it before the new year and then I said I was gonna start it again this year. So yeah, we're gonna get back to that as soon as I can. As soon as I think of something like really clever, I'm gonna post something and tag him with it.
Did you use the guitar picture I sent you?
Um, was that the Gabrick one?
Yeah, on the Gabrick goal. Yeah.
It was like he was jumping. I asked it. Yeah, so I asked Steven, like, for all the listeners out there, I remember this specific moment. I was going through Ryan Callahan highlights, and I remembered there was one game where he jumped over, like he jumped so high up in the air. It was like incredible. And like the Rangers scored on it. And I was like, wait, Steven, do you remember which one that was? And he sends me a picture of it. Turns out it was Girardi's goal. Was it Girardi? Oh, it was Gabrick. It was Gabrick who shot the puck
Gabrick.
in overtime against the Islanders in 2013, I believe. And
Yeah.
Callahan jumped like over the goalie's shoulders, basically. Like you could see, and you sent me a Photoshop version of it, right? Um,
Yeah. So my fiance actually found the photo on like an old phone or whatever, but it's a Photoshop of Callahan holding a guitar.
oh, okay. I'm gonna pull it. Twitter's being really slow right now, for me, but I'm gonna try and pull this up. I have this stuff. It's blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Oh, he's jumping and he's holding a guitar. Oh, that's great. Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
high up in the air there. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna post that and say something along those lines. I know he's a big country fan because when my uncle before my uncle passed away, long time ago, we had there was we called it the True Blue Life event in New York, and it was Callahan, Lundqvist, I think Vinny Prospel was there, Brandon Prust, and Brian Boyle, and Al Troutwig, I think, was there, and a couple fans got to ask questions, and me being like little pipsqueak 11-year-old with glasses and really high voice, was like, "When are you guys gonna win the cup?" I asked Callahan that, and then right after my uncle asked, like, "Oh, who's his favorite country music star?" And that was the last question of the thing. So yeah, Callahan's a big country guy, and I gotta post that that picture there. That'll be
Yeah. Yeah.
a nice one
Definitely
there.
post that picture. Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap it up, I have this for the fans out there. I got this for Christmas. My cousin got me the Ultimate New York Rangers trivia book. And so I'm going to read Steven. I'm going to ask Steven a question. Um, and he's going to try and answer it. Let me go to the page because it's a multiple choice question. I have the answer here. Um, I did not answer this myself before I looked at the answer. I just want Steven to answer this. But the question is, Brad Richards and which other players scored 9 game-winning goals in 2011-12? Is it A, Carl Hagelin, B, Derek Stepan, C, Ryan Callahan, or D, Marion Gabrick?
Uh, uh, I probably should go with Marian Gabrick.
Final answer?
I don't know. You just talked about Ryan Callahan. Maybe this is just a segue.
I need the
Yeah, I'll go with Gabrick.
I'm sorry, the answer is C, Ryan Callahan.
Oh, see? Oh.
I needed the music in the background. I don't
Yeah.
the or the million Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music. Do no no. Like when it highlights the answer. I needed
Yeah.
the sound effects. I need a better production team here. It's just me. But yeah, there you go. The first ice cold takes trivia question of the year. We gotta next time I have you on, I gotta do like more of those. I was saving it. I was saving it for you, because I know you would appreciate that. You always post that kind of stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's fun. We could just make it a segment.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. All right, but before we wrap it up, anything else you want to add?
Um, no, I think we covered everything. Yeah, World Juniors gold medal game tonight, of course. So, yeah, we'll see what
6:30.
happens. Um, and yeah. Oh, I do want to quickly. Oh, there it is. Quickly show that the red jersey.
Hang.
Um, That is one of the warm-up jerseys from Henrik Lundqvist trivia night in Sweden last week. Man, that's going to be a special one in our collection.
Henrik Lundqvist, what a guy! One day he'll be on
Yeah,
the show.
man. Look, flying to Sweden and attending that game and hearing people talk about Henrik Lundqvist when he hasn't played for their team in 17 years. I mean, they treat him like a god still.
Right. I bet like him in Sweden is like Wayne Gretzky in any like Canadian town.
Yeah, he's up there. There are some other Swedes that are like up there with Henrik Lundqvist,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, but like yeah.
but Henrik Lundqvist is the type of player that that feels like it at least has no haters in Sweden. Oh,
Everybody,
the other thing we did, which was pretty cool, we went to Mika Zibanejad's burger restaurant. That was cool.
he's got a burger restaurant.
Yeah, he's like part owner
What
in a
doesn't
burger
this guy
chain.
do? He's a DJ, he's a hockey player, and he's got a burger restaurant. They have like a reality show of the burger place because in America we have like reality shows for everything, like Wahlburgers, like
Well,
the burger joint.
he's also married to a former Swedish soccer player. So if there was ever a hockey player in Sweden ready for a reality TV show, it's him.
Yeah.
But he has his own burger on the menu. It's literally called the Mika Zibanejad 93, and it's a burger with 3 different types of onion.
Surprised no one has told him to get his head out of the fryer and start focusing on hockey, like they told him about his DJing skills.
Work on your game, kid. Yeah,
work on your game, kid. You remember that like earlier this year against the Bruins? They were
Oh no,
like,
he mentioned it. He mentioned it.
Yeah, someone told me on Twitter to focus on hockey, and so I started focusing on hockey.
I'll say this though, he did. He focused on hockey, and man, yeah, the guy's on pace for 85 points this season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and
not bad.
we got on him for like his even strength play, but like you said, it has picked up a lot recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
The theme for this year has been hitting post. Honestly, like they've been pretty unlucky. One of the most.
I think Trocheck alone has like 8.
Yeah, and Trocheck alone also misses the net like 50% of the time. I swear he shoots with his eyes closed. That guy sometimes.
And somehow Trocheck is still 4th on the team in points.
Yeah. I like him still. I still like him. I think he's a fantastic skater.
Trocheck is an asset for his face-off abilities alone.
Mm-hmm.
And for his grandma making them Italian food when they're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Love it. But yeah. Everything looks good for the Rangers right now. Hopefully they could keep everything going. I am praying, like Ranger fans out there, just pray that Kaapo Kakko doesn't stop scoring points. Like that this hot streak he's on is not just a hot streak, and it's just who he is. Just pray that's who he is.
The last time the Rangers played in Montreal, Kaapo Kakko left the game with a shoulder injury, if I remember correctly.
Was that last year? Oh man! All right, well, let's exercise some demons there. Is this the first time? No. We've played Marty. We played St. Louis, like when he coached last year, but we played him at the Garden. It's still such a cool story that St. Louis is coaching Montreal. Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. You know what I was thinking of doing? Last season, I did like a combined roster, like what the lines would look like if it was a 2013-14 plus like 2021-22 Rangers. Mm. I think what I'm going to do is do 2014-15 Rangers plus 22-23 Rangers. Okay. I was already thinking of some crazy combos. Like, I'll sneak peek it. So like the D pairs I was thinking: McDonough, Fox, Klein and Miller, and Keith Yandel and Braden Schneider.
Oh, Yandel Schneider. That's interesting.
I have to keep Yandel on the third pair because you know what I mean. Like, because that's what he was used as.
if Alain Vigneault is the coach, then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Alain Vigneault. Yeah.
By the way, Vinny Trocheck and Connor McDavid are tied for most posts in the season with 9.
What? He's got as many posts as McDavid?
Yeah.
That's nuts. If you're tied for McDavid in any stat, it must be good.
He also had 1 crossbar, so technically he's ahead of McDavid by 1 if we just count shots hitting the iron.
Wait, they count crossbar as separate? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Ovechkin has 7 posts, 3 crossbars. Trocheck 9 and 1, so they are tied for 10 total.
7 posts and 3 crossbars for Ovechkin. And how many goals does he have right now?
How many goals does Ovechkin
So
have?
that's like 10 more goals than, like he could. I think he's past. He's second all time, right? So
He's tied for third in the league with 28 goals.
Ovechkin still kicking ass at age 37, 38 years old.
Yeah, I think Wayne Gretzky said it's no longer a question if he will break my record, but when he will break my record.
Oh, 100%, man. Like he doesn't seem like he's stopping anytime soon. He looks
Yeah.
like he's in great shape. He trains a lot in the off season. There's no way he's not going to break the record. I would say, like, I would be shocked if he didn't end up breaking this record.
By the
Plus,
way, I don't know who went into edit player mode this season and changed Tage Thompson, because Tage Thompson has 30 goals and 25 assists in 36 games.
oh my god, yeah, he's a beast. He is like, how people say like he's like a player's a unicorn. I had Jamie McLennan say Jacob Trouba was a unicorn during the playoffs last season. Tage Thompson is the unicorn for
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Tage Thompson single-handedly makes the O'Reilly trade a win-win for Buffalo.
Oh yeah,
They lost that trade hands down, and Tage Thompson is turning it into a win-win trade.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah, like he is. You take him off, like they're looking like a better team now. Like I'm happy for Buffalo. Like I would always pick on them, but now I'm happy for them because they have some good players there. Like Tage Thompson is just
Look, there's
unreal.
nothing to hate about the Buffalo Sabres. There's nothing to like either. It's just
I do love the throwback jerseys. Although it's
Yeah.
not a good. It's like by your definition, is that a good reverse retro jersey or no?
Oh, are we going to get into reverse retro? All right. The Buffalo Sabres have done a good job with the reverse retro theme. Yes, better than the Rangers.
Okay. But it's like it's basically just the old jersey that they had, right? Like in the 90s?
Yeah, but it's a mashup with a different design.
Okay.
So
So
they
it's not
mashed
just
up
bringing
2
it
different.
back.
Yeah.
I see.
So I will say this, and this this is going to be my ice cold take, and then we'll probably wrap it up. The current reverse retro jersey the Rangers have, the Blue Liberty, it is a great third jersey, but a terrible reverse retro jersey because there's nothing reverse about it. It's like getting an assignment in school that you have to draw a picture of a house, and instead you draw a picture of a boat, and it's a beautiful picture, but it's not the assignment.
Oh man, that's a interesting analogy there.
It's a beautiful jersey, and if they released that as a third jersey, it would have been epic.
So you were telling me before we started recording that this should be like the center crest.
Well, if you want to do reverse retro right, you take an old design and then you change something about it. So that metallic Rangers logo on the front with the Liberty logo on the shoulder is a design you could go with. They could have gone with a cream-colored Heritage jersey where you mix the 2012 Winter Classic jersey design with the diagonal New York lettering from the Heritage jersey.
That's a good design. I like that.
You could have gone with a royal blue jersey with the 2012 Winter Classic logo, because you go back to the late 80s New York jersey, but then you slap the Winter Classic logo on it. Mm-hmm. That's what reverse retro is in my book. You take a retro jersey, you reverse something, you put a new spin on an old design. The Rangers never put a new spin on an old design. The first one was terrible, by the way. The 2020 still looks like a practice jersey. Mm-hmm. The one they have now is much better as a third jersey, but as a reverse retro,
right. As a third jersey, they misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah, they didn't stick to the assignment. It's a beautiful jersey, but it's not a reverse retro in my book.
Yeah. So I wonder if I'll end up buying one of those jerseys. But anyway, Steven, thanks so much for joining me this week. Always a pleasure to have you on, man.
Yeah, no, always fun talking to you. And yeah, if you need help coming up with a slogan for Cali, let me know.
All right, Ice Cold
It
Takes
It
fans.
worked for weeks, so
We're gonna get Callahan sooner rather than later. That's the goal for this year. Big things planned for 2023. Lots of guests that I have on my list. So we'll see what clever recruiting schemes, things I do to get these guests to respond on Twitter, which is probably how I'm going to do it because that's how I always do it. So be on the lookout for me, like going on a spree of like 30 days asking for certain people to come on my show. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Go watch Czechia versus Canada in the gold medal game. Make sure you watch the Rangers versus Montreal tonight. And don't forget, the Rangers are playing the Devils on Saturday, 1 p.m. That should be a good game. All right, so take it easy. We'll see you guys next week.